Good afternoon. My name is Courtney Burke, a student at Liberty University this fall 2015. Today I'll be presenting to you my interpersonal communication project for Human Service Counseling course 508 section B15. Next slide, please. Overarching goal or master goal. My overarching goal is to become a better listener. Better listening will help me to be able to build and keep relationships, both professional and personal. Better listening also is a part of interpersonal communication because interpersonal communication is the collaboration, choices, culture, identities, conversation, and nexting identified when people involved are contacting each other as persons. Next slide, please. Enlarging the conversation. Enlarging the conversation, as Stewart defines it, the conversation is the relationship, or enlarging the conversation can be called keeping the conversation going. And it also applies to the concepts of understanding, listening, and speaking. Next slide, please. Self-disclosure. Self-disclosure is revealing yourself to another person. Generally, it's how you perceive and react to the current situation by giving information about you and your past that will be relevant to your understanding. Self-disclosure has several different benefits, but today I'll only talk to you about the benefit of deepening a relationship by sharing reactions, feelings, and personal information. Also, confidences. Next slide, please. My self-disclosure can be revealed through my background. I am an African American female, well educated. I come from a military family. I am a single mother and the product of a single mother. I'm independent and determined. I have some positive influences about my background, which is that I'm intelligent, family supportive, family values, and adaptive. But my background also has negative influences regarding my listening, and that is I can be judgmental, biased, and indecisive. Next slide, please. Behavior blend, temperaments model. Carbonell developed a temperaments model called the DISC model. On that model, it tells you that D people are active, task oriented, I people are active, people oriented, S people are passive, people oriented, and C people are passive, task oriented. Next slide, please. My behavior blend, according to the Uniquely You profile, says that what's expected of me is to be more sensitive, submissive, blend with the crowd, be more withdrawn, reserved in public, and to do what I'm told. But the true me is that I'm steady, stable, misjudged as boring, a good listener, trustworthy, and soft-spoken. Next slide, please. Therefore, Carbonell defines me to be more passive than active and reserved. Next slide. Influencing the conversation. Influencing the conversation as it relates to listening has positive attributes and negative attributes. The positive attributes are you gotta want to listen, be open-minded, and critical. But the negative influences are resistant, unreliable, and impatient. Next slide, please. Potential barriers. Potential barriers to my listening better would be the myth that only speaking presents power, perception, reception, attention, hearing what I want to hear, green flag words, and the effects of emotions on listening. Next slide, please. Even though there are potential barriers, there are solutions to barriers. They are called the ground rules. Ground rules would be do not interrupt, do not preach, do not give advice, do not take the subject off into another direction, do not get into internal distractions, but you must reflect back to the talker what you observe and what you believe the talker truly feels. Next slide, please. Noise pollution. Noise pollutions to my listening can be internal and external. The internal noise pollutions to listening could be the negative thoughts and negative actions that I can control. Solutions to that would be to use the clarifying technique, honesty, consistent listening, and my favorite, Peterson's talker listener card, which tells what the talker should do and what the listener should do. The external noise pollutions are loud noise and the temperature of the area, which you yourself cannot control. Solutions to those external noise pollutions would be to look directly into the eyes of the speaker, speak clearly, and not hold things that will be distractive to your listening. Next slide, please. My plan of action to help me to become a better listener would be to look for something positive and interesting. Go beyond the way the other speakers go beyond the way the other speaker to find out how much they really know about the subject matter. Use energy and practice often. Stay attuned to ideas presented in the conversation. Take notes, both written and mentally. Next slide, please. Also, I must be aware of any distractions and I should stay clear of them. I should save my disagreements or disputes for last. I should pay attention and be open-minded. Sum up what was presented and build a good response before I respond. Work on my patience. Get involved in activities that will require me to do more listening. And lastly, work at being considerate, regardless of the message and the way it was delivered. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, the difference between a good employee and a great employee is their interpersonal communication skills, which would be nonverbal communication and verbal communication, listening, questioning, manners, problem solving, social awareness, self-management, all the way down to being accountable. Mike Myers' article suggests that I should never be too busy to listen and always listen for opportunities. So prayerfully, with God's help, I will become a better listener. Next slide, please. Thank you, and this is the end of my presentation.